ago, I came to an event, and when I was walking up, the meeting planner, Amy, not Amy, but in her position, kind of gave me a strange look. And she's looking at her computer and looking at me, and I was like, is everything all right? And she's like, yeah, you just don't look like you do on Google. I said, well, years, way on, I'm a little grayer, I've got a couple kids, whatever, I get that. And she said, no, you don't look really anything like, but anyway, it's okay. And she said, did you bring any of your memorabilia to sign? And I said, I don't have any memorabilia. And she's like, well, are you going to talk about your movies? And I was like, what are we talking about? And she's like, are you not Corey Feldman? And I'm like, no, I am not Corey Feldman. And this is a problem because I don't have nothing to talk about when it comes to Goonies or The Lost Boys or whatever. So if you thought I was Corey Feldman, I sincerely apologize. I'm Corey Perlman. I know nothing about his movies and such, but I think I know a little bit more about social media, although that's probably not true either. So just wanted to clear that up. All right, so a couple of things. I want to make sure that we stay in touch. This is a social media presentation. So this is a QR code for us to connect on Instagram. I will also give you my LinkedIn later if that's a place that you'd prefer. If you're not on Instagram, feel free to still take a picture and have your team connect with me on Instagram. I want to be a part of your journey. I also recognize, by the way, that you may not be clicking the buttons on your social media. I recognize that. I got a secret for you. I don't do it either. I am the creator a lot of the times, but I have a team in place as well that press a lot of the social media buttons for me. But I want you to know what's going on in the world of your social media. That's the most important thing, especially if you're the business owners, okay? So I want to stay in touch. Also, the number one question, just like Manley said early in his presentation, is can you have my slides? The answer is yes. Just simply text the slides to 66866. You could text the word slides to the number 66866 at any time, now, later, whenever, and you can have a copy of my presentation. If that doesn't work for you, I'll give you my email address at the end. You can just email me as well. I also want to know if you have any negative feedback about my presentation. I have a specific place I like to hear that feedback. It's called myspace.com. Feel free to post it there, and I am sure Ashton Kutcher or Tom will see it, okay? So there you go. Okay, so why Be Authentically Social? I named it this program for a specific reason. I'm a big believer in the more real you are on social, and I don't mean stuff that you don't want to share on social, but the more that you share your values, your culture, your mission, who you are as a company, the better you're going to do on social. And I have the data to prove it. We jumped off the tracks a few years ago as businesses and started making our social profiles look more like brochures than what they're more intended to be, which is a real life story of who we are as a brand. So I want you to be more authentic because you're going to get better results. I heard a lot when I've been talking to you over the last few days about employee engagement, employee growth, and employee retention. The better you are on social, the more authentic you are on social, the better you're going to do with employee growth and retention. The new world of employees, say 30 and above, go to our social media to determine whether or not they want to work with us or not. So if we're showing who we are on social, that is their way of seeing if they want to work with us or not. So if you're only a brochure on social, they're not seeing what they want to see. It's less expensive. You may find that you're not getting a lot of results on social because you're phoning it in, you're putting articles or brochures on your social, and then you have to sprinkle the magic pixie dust in order to pick it up, which is money. But I've noticed, and by the way, I've looked at all of your social media, so I'm going to be showing a lot of it today. So if you want to leave now, that's okay. No, I'm kidding. It's nothing bad. It's all good. Don't worry. But I looked at all your social, and some of you are getting some serious organic growth. But the common theme with all of it is that you're being authentic, and you're not a billboard or a brochure. And then last but not least, I want to keep you out of compliance jail. And what I mean by that is if you are not authentic and you're kind of being fake, that means that maybe you're farming it out to somebody who doesn't know you very well. And if they post, something that's offensive or goes against the terms of social media, that can get you in trouble. Or if you're buying lists, and doing things kind of the shortcut way, that can get you in trouble. You've probably heard of colleagues that have been in Facebook jail or Instagram jail or LinkedIn jail, or even at times, been sued, for different reasons and such. But if you're posting your own stuff and you're being yourselves on social, then you are going to avoid being in compliance jail, okay? So we're going to go through 6 authentically social principles. And my first one for you is don't be a jack of all social media sites, master of none. Instead, I want you to focus on a few and do them really well. You do not have to be everywhere on social. I own an agency. I've been doing this for over a decade. And when our clients try to be everywhere, they do everything subpar. But when they focus on a few and do them really well and plant their flags deep, then they succeed. So I want you to prioritize as opposed to trying to be everywhere. Quick story on that. I was doing a keynote in front of a group similar to this, and we were talking about all the different social platforms, and a question came up about TikTok. And we got to talk about TikTok for a second. So as the question's being asked to me, and I'm trying to answer the TikTok question, a gentleman to the left made a sound that I have never heard before in my 15 years of public speaking. It was as close to a heckler as I've ever had on stage. And because I don't have it recorded, I wanted to share it with you, but I had to kind of recreate it. So this is what the gentleman sounded like when he blurted out in the middle of me answering the question on TikTok. So he freaked everybody out. Like, we were all startled. I was scared to death. And he quickly apologized. He obviously had our attention. And I said, it's okay. Like, what's going on? He said, Corey, I'm sorry. I'm just frustrated. And I said, well, tell me why you're frustrated. He said, because, Facebook, Instagram, got it. Then along comes, LinkedIn, should I be on it? And then Twitter, what's up with Twitter? Elon Musk, I feel like I'm going through the rant like Ross did. And then Snapchat. And then didn't Google have a social media site? Yes, they did. God rest its soul. It died a few years ago. So on and so forth, all Periscope. So I could go on. And then along comes TikTok. I am so overwhelmed by all of this crap. Every day I see a new social media site. I'm frustrated. And I said, I totally understand, man. I said, tell me a little bit more about your business. And he said, well, I sell medical supplies to the elderly population. So we had this moment where, and I do this sometimes with my dog. I'm not trying to, make fun of the guy, but sometimes my dog and I will try to understand each other, and I'll just kind of look at him for a second. I'm trying to figure out, where, and then all of a sudden his ears perk up because, it's like we had a moment. And that's what happened. I just looked at the guy, and he looked at me, and he goes, do I even need to be on TikTok? And the whole room turned around and goes, no, all in unison. So, but what I took away from that moment was, regardless of the industry that we're in, that is a common misconception. That just because a social media site comes out does not mean that you have to be on it. It means that you have to understand where the buyer is, where the common denominator of people are on that site. So is it finally time to start talking about TikTok for your auto businesses? I would say not so fast, my friend, as my friend Lee Corso would say. And here's why. I go to the demographics, okay? And what this is hard to read. Again, you'll get all these slides. But in essence, the main demographic of TikTok is still very young. So 18 to 24 is the sweet spot there. Is it growing? Yes. Is it creeping up the age? Yes. But so was Snapchat at one time. Okay? And let me show you another slide here. This is influencers on Instagram, but bear with that a quote-unquote influencer is 1,000 followers, so they're not really that popular. But in this case, you can see that almost 80% of the audience is 18 to 24. And so what you guys have noticed over the years with Instagram and Facebook, now first of all, Facebook, we all know that a lot of people are leaving Facebook. You know, they're anti-Facebook, and they're going where? To Instagram. Who owns Instagram? Facebook, right? So Facebook like, Meta, you know, we'll just let them go over there. So that's fine. But over the years with Facebook and Instagram, when a new platform has come along, what have they been really good at? Either buying them or stealing. So for example, when Snapchat came along, the big thing were stories. So what did Instagram and Facebook do? They created stories. So then TikTok comes along, and they create these short little reels. Exactly. You know where I'm going. So that's what they did. So I was sitting with dinner with one of you the other night, and one of you, we were talking about TikTok, and they just said, yeah, Instagram just went and did it better. And they just said that nonchalantly. And in some ways, that's what they do. And so if you ask me honestly where I think your platforms should be, I believe they should be on Facebook and Instagram. So I am telling you, you do not have to be on TikTok. Good night, everybody. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. That's it, right? I mean, but, you know, and again, I know there's some people in here, it's like, well, wait, we're seeing some success. I get that. If you have a millennial on your team that loves TikTok, then by all means. But what I've seen more often than not is when you jump on another platform, you take resources away from the other two that were serving you well. And I don't want that to happen. So the drive this home point, the message I want you to take to your team is prioritize your platforms and stay the course for now on Facebook and Instagram. Do those really, really well. Now let's talk about those two. Let's talk about Instagram first. Motion moves the needle. This is a big one that I saw a lot of you not doing as much as you need to be. And that's creating motion on Instagram. That's what they want. They have fundamentally changed their platform to compete against TikTok. But don't take my word for it. This is the head of Instagram talking to their investors and their C-level decision makers on where Instagram is going.
We're no longer a photo sharing app or a square photo sharing app. The number one reason people say that they use Instagram in research is to be entertained. So people are looking to us for that. So actually this past week in our internal all hands, I shared a lot about what we're trying to do to lean into that trend, into entertainment and into video. Because let's be honest, there's some really serious competition right now. TikTok is huge.
So I froze it right there for a specific reason. Very rarely do you hear a major business mention a competitor, you know, to their shareholders and such, but they know that TikTok is eating their lunch. And so they you guys remember 4 or 5 years ago, Instagram was a photo sharing app, period. And they have changed fundamentally to an entertainment sharing app. In other words, a video or motion sharing app. So if you want to create more engagement on that platform, you have got to buy in to where they're headed, and that is motion. So a few more statistics on that. 81% of people like me have seen that interactive content outperforms static content. 88% found that it helps them outperform their competition, which again, I've watched you all do when I audited your profiles. And 70% found that it's actually more effective in converting, which is what we're all hoping to do, someone from looking at our social to actually clicking and calling the phone number or coming to our websites. So it's doing more good when we're creating motion. So what exactly does motion mean? It means carousels, stories, and reels. And this is as technical as I'm going to get with you today. So bear with me if that doesn't make sense to you, but I know a lot of you are very familiar with these. Carousels, well, let's start with reels. You can see on this screen right here, these are all short videos. And one thing you see very quickly is that when you create a reel on Instagram, Instagram shows it to more people. So Instagram's saying to you all, businesses, people, we want reels. So when you give them reels, they show it to more people. What are you guys doing? You're giving them photos. And they're saying, we don't want photos. We want reels. So if you want more eyeballs, if you want more people to see your stuff, you got to give them what they want. And you can see it right here. All of these 1,700, 2,300, so on and so forth. These are reels. Okay, so that's the first thing. Reels help you win the algorithm game. Now, a question I'm often asked is, well, Corey, does that mean no more images? No. Images are good. You just got to put them in a different way. So they're called carousels. Carousels are rotating images. Think about it like a slideshow. Okay? So they want motion. So what this is 6 or 7 photos of your shop, of a part, of an experience with a customer, whatever. But it's 6 or 7 photos that I can scroll through. So I think I have an example of that. Yeah. So this is Mad Hatter Auto Repair. This was International Women's Day. You know you have a carousel post when you have the little arrow. And you see my little Michael Jackson glove on the arrow right there, right? So you'll see I've got a little video here that I'm scrolling through this. And what's happening is I'm staying with this particular post longer than if it was just a photo. So I can see more things in one time. I can spend more time on your particular post, and Instagram likes it. So go from static photos to carousel posts. Write that down if you would. So I've mentioned reels and I've mentioned carousel posts, and another one is stories. These are those little circles up at the top. And what stories are a mixture of photos and videos. So this is you creating an experience for me on Instagram. And so this is an example from one of you about working with you. So this is an experience that say I'm a potential employee, I can click through and I can watch as you take me through a story of a job fair and maybe some ways that I can potentially learn more about working for you guys. So you'll see that here. So you can see that, I'm going through this experience. We're here to answer your questions until 2 p.m. I click on the next one, say hi to Paul and Doug. So these are just images. Then all of a sudden, this one's a video, so I can change from photos to videos. I can put text on there. So the thing you guys got to understand is there's a whole generation of people, and you can see as I'm scrolling along, there's a whole generation of people. Let me just start right here. Hold on, I'm going to go back for a second. Age 40 and above, which is my generation, we learned how to be on social by going up and down, vertical. But there's a whole generation of people 40 and below who do it very differently than you and I, if you're 40 and above. They go left to right, which is what I'm doing right here. So I will have people in the audience. In fact, we might even have them in here. Raise your hand if you are somebody who is an active Instagram user who tends to stay on stories and reels and doesn't go through the news feed. Raise your hand if you're in here. So you see a couple of hands pop up. That means that if you're not using stories and reels, you're missing that generation. So we got to make sure that we are looking at the verticals for the 40 and above, but most importantly for the 40 and below, the rights to left, and that's stories and reels. Now, I know what you're thinking. Corey, you're creating a lot more work for me or for my team. And that might be true, but I got a really important best practice for you. And that is, don't try to create the moment for these videos. Capture the moment instead. You have so much cool stuff going on behind the scenes at your shops that you do not have to go, what can we create next week that's going to be a reel that Corey told us to shoot? No, I don't want you thinking that way. What are we doing next week that we can hit the record button on and have our team post it to Instagram? This photo right here, these two guys rolling tires upstairs, got 7,000 views on Instagram. Why? I have no idea. Sometimes I do not know what resonates with people on Instagram. But for whatever reason, you guys, good job, Silver Lake Auto Center, God bless you, rolled some tires up some stairs and got 7,000 plays on that. Good job. And you even got a comment from one of your colleagues there, if I can see, Paul. Okay, so don't try to create the moment. Capture the moment instead. Have that record button at the ready. Drive this home. Motion moves the needle on Instagram. create action, create movement, and you'll do better on that platform. Let's move over to Facebook for a second. The biggest mistake that I saw you all making on Facebook is not humanizing the brand. So let me ask you a quick question. Now, this is actually going back to Instagram for a second, but just might surprise you. Of the top 50 most followed Instagram accounts, how many of them are brands in your minds? So you have the 50 most followed Instagram profiles. How many of them are businesses versus people? How many would you say are businesses? 0 to 40, all of them? Let's see. 7. So of the top 50 Instagram profiles, only 7 are actually brands, and 43 of them are people. And of course, you guys know it's probably people like Selena Gomez and Bieber and whoever else is. But the point is, and you see this on all the different platforms, that people follow people, okay? So that gives you a serious disadvantage to when you're trying to create an online presence on social media as a brand. So what do we do with that? We need to make sure that our brands are full of humans, okay? And a lot of you are thinking that your brand should be made up of your products, and that's just simply not the case. All right, so let me give you a case study. I got a chance to hang out with Ray and Dana Inman's Auto Care. We sat with them at dinner. And one of the things that they said to me is, Corey, we're kicking butt on social. 9 out of our 10 customers come from our social media content. And I said, well, that's interesting. Let me go take a look at it. And what did I notice? So these are the top 3 most engaged posts on their Facebook page over the last few months. So this is the first one. So you can see here, this is their team, or some of the members of their team, and they got 27 engagements, 4 comments, 3 shares. This is a birthday, happy birthday post, which got, again, I'm having a hard time reading it, but you can see 23 comments. Good engagement for Facebook. And this is organic, I can tell, and I'll show you another one that's not, but still, this was their second most popular post. And then this one, which got 20 engagements, some shares, and some comments as well. So the top 3 over the last month most engaged posts. What's common about those posts? People. What else is common about those posts? They're smiling. I like that. What else? They're comfortable. Are they professionally done? No. What were they taken with? A freaking iPhone or an Android even. Just kidding, Android fans. Candid photos are fine. Candid photos are even better than professional photos. We want authenticity on social. We want to see people on your Facebook pages, okay? So let me show you another best practice here. This is from one of you all here. This is going to be a little video that I'm going to show you, and you're going to hear me talking through it. But this is, again, I'm only showing you things that all of you are doing. So really listen up on this one. So take a look at this.
At Empey's Truck and Auto Repair, and the example I'm showing you here is when you link out away from Facebook versus staying within the walls of Facebook. So in this case, linking out to sensibledriver.com, no engagement, all leaking out. And then all of a sudden, you stay within the walls of Facebook, engagement goes up, 12, and here, great post, offering a special, nice humanized photo, and 27 engagements compared to 0 with the linking out. So don't link out, keep them within the walls of Facebook.
So, and again, I hope you don't take that, I mean, that was good. They've got good engagement, and the ones that don't is a very simple rule that we're all breaking, which is, and if you think about it, you'll never do it again. You're taking people out of Facebook. You're taking people off of Instagram. You're taking people out of LinkedIn. Doesn't matter the social platform. Anytime you do that, they're going to punish you for it. You get that? Don't take them out. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't share an article or something that takes them to your website. That's fine. But just know your engagement will suffer. Your engagement will suffer. Their job is to keep people on their site. So don't be surprised if your engagement suffers if you link outside the walls of Facebook. That make sense, everybody? Okay. Here's another good one that I like to see here. So we'll watch this one real quick. Another great example. Again, I'm looking at all your stuff, seeing, this isn't me just telling you humans, I'm watching on your sites that the posts that do the most engagement are the ones that have humans.
To show you all, they do a really nice job of showcasing their team, and engagement definitely supports that that's the right thing to do. Some happy birthday posts, 8 comments, 25 engagements. Here's they're showcasing their new store, huge engagement, 32 comments, 16 shares, 94 likes. Video, and then another happy birthday, 27, 5 shares. I mean, that's great organic reach right there. And you can see that when they don't do that, engagement suffers. So showcasing your people, humanizing the brand's the right thing to do.
There's a good example where you saw the first 3 posts, people, not people, engagement suffers. The other thing I want to mention, I know you're thinking this, is where does money come into play? Should I have an ad budget on my Facebook? The answer is yes. There's no doubt about it that you and me as businesses, it is tough to make Facebook work with us without sprinkling the magic pixie dust on it. And I know that one of the posts I showed above that, they had done it because I saw the Learn More button on there. That indicates to me that that was an ad. But that's fine. Even on ads, if you show people, they do better. Okay, so what I like to do, if you're asking, well, what type of post should I advertise? The ones that organically are already doing well. So for example, that one, they had people, there was probably 25, 30 likes, they sprinkled the magic pixie dust on it, and it jumped up to 94. As opposed to the quote here, you go and you advertise this one, and maybe it jumps up to 6, they're not going to show it anyway, and it's a waste of money. So advertise, boost, put money behind posts that are organically already doing well. Does that make sense? All right. So drive this point home. People first, product second. People first, product second. You guys are doing great. We got 3 left. Don't be the hero in your own digital story. I think I heard Ross say it about being thought leaders in our industry, really making it about the consumer. And that's what this one is all about, is turning the spotlight from us to others and showcasing other people besides ourselves. So what does that look like? Well, that could be your customers. That could be your community. Or that could be your team. One thing that I heard over dinner was it matters to your customers how connected you are to the community. It matters. And so that is something that I want you to share in your story on social. If you're partnering with organizations, if you are volunteering at nonprofits, if you are supporting local businesses, that should be a bucket on your social media content. We care about that stuff, especially local businesses and locals in the area. We care about that. So you need to showcase that on social. All right? Your customers. What a great indirect way to show your value is to showcase your people that love you all. The best salespeople that you will ever have are happy customers. Let them shine. If you've got a happy customer, turn that record button on and let them talk about their experience with you and post that on social. That's people, that's authentic, it's not you, and it's them talking about how much they love you. That's a win-win-win-win. Okay? So here's a best practice, couple best practices that I saw from you. This is American Import Auto Incorporated. What you're going to notice here, I mentioned earlier, stories are the circles that you see on the top there on Instagram. One thing I failed to mention is stories disappear within 24 hours. And that kind of sucks when it comes to working so hard on creating something for it only to disappear 24 hours later. The good news is you can flip a switch and turn it into a highlight. And that means it stays on your site for as long as you want it to. So think of this kind of like a website. When somebody comes to your Instagram, your highlights are the first things that they see, like tabs on your website. And that's what you see here. And so they have community, city support, chamber events. They want people immediately to see they are a part of their community. First and foremost, before I even ever talk about our business, I want you to know that we are plugged into the community. Take a look. So you can see here, they have the different tabs: community, city, support, chamber events. So I clicked on community here for a half second. You can tag the business, which is super neat. Again, their business, charity, have some fun with, the being able to work there. Here's an event that they did. This is at Venice Middle School. I'm from Sarasota, so right next door. So then I clicked on city support. So this is about them working with the local support, police, fire department, national first responders, really important stuff here that people care about, employees care about, so on and so forth. So that's that one. And then chamber events. This is working with the local chamber. This is where you can partner with other, this is a golf course, other local businesses, and they can do the same for you. Okay, and so this is them showing the fun days. So very quickly, I can get deep inside your company culture and see what's going on in your world, which is really cool. So drive this home. More about them, less about you. As Dale Carnegie, one of my favorite authors, always says, people are more interested in what others are feeling than about ourselves, right? They want to hear about they want to talk about what they're interested in, not what we're interested in. So let's turn the spotlight around from us to them. Number 5, one of my favorites. Be more like the wise owl and less like the squawking parrot. So ironic, because outside in the hall, as you all have seen, there are 2 squawking parrots out there, although they haven't been squawking very much. I've tried to get them to talk a few times, but I've failed. So no offense to those 2 out there, but I want you to be more the wise owl, less the squawking parrot. So what is the squawking parrot? The squawking parrot is all about their products and promotions. Products and promotions, products and some promotions, products and some promotions. Squawk! Super annoying. No offense to parrot lovers out there, but super annoying, right? That's all they talk about. The wise owl, on the other hand, they're a resource. They add value. They are a trusted advisor on the journey from me having trouble with my car, thinking about purchasing a used vehicle, and you are supporting me along the way. That's the wise owl. That's who I want you to be. So the wise owl educates. In what ways can you add value to your audience? You're going to get these slides, but you want to maybe write this down for your team. In what ways can we add value to our audience? What do we know that others don't? What is second nature to us that people struggle with when it comes to their cars, their automobiles? Entertain. Something that I hear a lot on social media, and it's 100% accurate, is social media is a very dark place. A lot of us don't like social media. It's frustrating. It can be, a not so fun place to be. So you have the opportunity to provide a little light, a little levity. Doesn't mean you gotta be super funny or be irreverent or whatever, but if you see something that puts a smile on your face, it may put a smile on others. So more funny, more money, as we like to say in the speaker world. And here's one of you guys. You said, I don't always have car problems, but when I do, I take my vehicle to Adam's garage. And it got some good engagement. Hey, that's you guys. Good job. All right, so entertain is the second E. And then encourage. How can you be a guide in our quest for safety and reassurance? So again, as Ross said in his presentation, be a trusted advisor to me. Help me know that you're the best in the biz, that I can trust you by how much you know in the auto industry. And I will be a loyal customer for life. So part of what we can do on social is to educate and add value. How can you be a guide on our quest for safety and reassurance? So here's another best practice, more funny, more money. So this one doesn't have sound, and I apologize for that. But what you will find if you play in the world of Instagram is that there's lots of trending audio and trending memes. And so these guys did an excellent job of what we call, in our business, newsjacking, which is just jumping on the bandwagon of what everyone else is talking about. And it did really well, 6,500 plays. So you can see here, point of view, check engine light on, brakes grinding, noisy suspension. And then you got telling mechanic my car just needs an oil change. So it's just, it's good. Good job. Are you guys in the room? Yeah. Hey, what's up? Good job. I guess I should have been doing more of that. Shout outs to all of you that you see on here. So we have here, I really like this one too. So this is, where are you guys? Auto Clinic of Maryland. All right, you guys. So what you did here, you see those, what you did is you branded your highlights up at the top there. So they're very clear. It's almost like tabs on a website. And what you all do a really good job of is adding value, educating, which you'll see here. So as I scroll through your reels here, you see I'm on the Reels tab. The reels that did the best are the ones where you're educating. 3,000. And this one has 12,000 views. 13,000 views on this one.
What you got there, JJ?
So these are tires. One is a good tire, one's a bad tire. So this is an old tire that is low on tread, worn out. This is a brand new tire, has plenty of tread. There's a trick you can do with a penny, where if you put the penny in the tire tread, and they say that you should not be able to see most of the penny versus like this. You see the whole thing?
Yeah, that's
that means there's not a lot of tread. You're not going to get good traction. That tire's unsafe.
That's basic knowledge to you, but that's groundbreaking information to the rest of the world. And it got almost 14,000 plays. It's pretty cool. Good job, you guys. That deserves a hand, right? I mean, 14,000 views organically is really good, right? That's awesome. So the point is your social shouldn't look like a billboard or a brochure. I don't want it advertising products and services. It's not what it's intended to do. This is social media. It's different than advertising. Very different. And you got to treat it differently. You are creating a digital story with different chapters in that story. One of those chapters needs to be education. One of those chapters should be testimonials. And another chapter can be promotion. Okay? But it's just one chapter in the story. It's not the whole story. Are you serving others or are you self-serving is what I want you to drive home to your team. Are you serving others or are you self-serving? All right, our last point here is don't fear the future. So I'd be remiss if I didn't come to you with something maybe that you have heard about but you didn't know much about. And that is really the talk, the buzz of 2023. It's what everybody's talking at the bars, or at least the bars that I go to, the nerdy bars, if you will. Do you guys know what I'm thinking of before I show it? What's like the buzz everyone's talking about these days in the world of digital? AI. Hey, what's going on? Good to see you. AI, and you nailed it right on the head. Or another way to say it is what? Chat GPT, right? When you hear the word Chat GPT one more time, you're going to smack them in the face, right? Let's ask Chat GPT. Enough already. So what Chat GPT is for those, how many of you don't know what Chat GPT is? Raise your hand. Okay, a good amount of you. Chat GPT is an AI tool. It's what it does is it allows us to go to a site and ask it to do stuff. And what it does instead of Google, which Google just provides a simple resource, it scours the internet with billions upon billions and trillions of content and brings back an answer based off of all that content it's read in a matter of seconds. So it's not plagiarized, it's not copied, it's pulled from multiple different segments. So they, educators are having a field day with this. Is it right? Is it wrong? If you put it through plagiarism tools, it doesn't come up as plagiarized because it's pulling from so many different things, but it's not coming from the person's head. Very confusing. It's also scaring a lot of industries. Is this going to, compete with my industry? Am I going to be out of a job because bots can now create social posts and blog articles and e-newsletters? So that's what's going on in the world with this. It's really interesting. What I will tell you is I am a big fan of ChatGPT and some of the other auto social tools in particular. Not as a replacement, but as a tool. I liken it to how Photoshop and Canva and some of these other tools made all of us better at design. It didn't replace designers, but it made us better at it. And that's what I think this will do. So what I've noticed ChatGPT does for us in the social media world is it helps spark creativity. So if I'm having a bad day in my brain, ChatGPT helps spark creativity. So I'll give you an example. I went to ChatGPT and I asked, what are some how-to videos, ideas for auto shop owners? And it quickly, in a matter of 3 seconds, came back, how to change oil, how to replace brakes, how to diagnose common car problems, how to maintain your car's battery, and how to prepare your car for winter. So what this can do for your team is it can just simply spark ideas. Okay, we could do one of those or not, but it starts the brainstorming process. It helps create some ideas. Is that everybody fair so far? It can be your ghostwriter, and I'm going to show you an example of that in just a second. What we use ChatGPT for is if we're writing a blog article or an email piece, it can be the first draft. I can't tell you how much time this has saved myself and my team. We do not copy and paste it to the blog because that doesn't work for us. But what we do is we use it as the baseline for our blog. And then it can help you work smarter. So let me show you a couple examples that I used in your field that you can just play around with, something you can talk to your team about, talk about at the bar tonight. You're like, you learned about ChatGPT. I'm telling you, you're going to hear it 1,000 times now that I mentioned it to you. But now you will have a better understanding of what it is. So you will see here, I'm on one of the chat tools. It's called Poe. There's lots of different ones. Ask me later on if you want, some tools, things of that nature. But all you got to do is Google ChatGPT and you'll see it. But I went to ChatGPT and I did something on behalf of you. Check it out.
Which is a AI tool, and I'm struggling writing content, so I'm going to ask it to simply write me a blog post on the 5 reasons why
Be helpful if I could spell. There we go. Okay.
It's important to rotate and change my tires.
Just a random question. And literally, and this is actually slow, but look how
And
fast
here
it
it
writes.
goes. Here's a blog post on the 5 reasons. Your tires are one of the most important components on your vehicle. Safety, worn down, evenly worn, or damaged tires reduce traction and handling, save money, performance, comfort, reliability, so on and so forth. So what it just did for me is it created a first draft. I can use this for blog content. I could use each of these for social media content. This is not plagiarized. This was created using a gazillion sources out on the web. Is it perfect? No. Do you need to mess with it a little bit? Yes, but it takes 80% of the work out of the equation.
So I was with a flooring company, and we tested it out, and we asked it to tell us what the pros and cons were from laminate to luxury vinyl. And it spit it out. And I asked him honestly, I said, how accurate is it? And he said, pretty freaking accurate, actually. Great start. And then he could just simply add his last piece to it. Can you see where that could maybe cut down on a little bit of the energy and effort and resources on having to write a blog article a week? Certainly worth the try. Let me show you one more that we did. Okay, so this one's real interesting. Watch this.
Noticed one of you guys, Paul Campanella's Auto and Tire Center, is hiring, so I can ask it.
So they're hiring.
Write a job description for Paul Campanella's Auto and Tire Center. We hit enter. And there it goes. Here's another try. I'd already asked it to do it before. We are seeking a skilled automotive technician. Here are responsibilities: inspecting vehicles, repairing or servicing vehicles, communicating clearly with service advisors and customers, staying up to date, maintaining a clean work area. This is a full-time position with competitive pay and benefits. Again, first draft, start the creativity. Instead of having to spend 2 hours writing a job description, this could cut your work in half, if not more.
There's nothing I hate more, at least in my business as a business owner, than having to write job descriptions. I don't know why, I just hate it. So to have a tool to be able to decently do a good job of writing the job description is super, super helpful. One last one I'll show you here is a lot of you have a ton of great reviews on Google and such. And I could do a whole nother presentation, obviously, on Google and internet marketing. We could do that at a different time. But you guys love to respond to reviews, and that's a good thing. That's a best practice, but it takes a lot of energy, and sometimes you don't have the time. So what I just tried is I took one of Ray and Dana's reviews, I put it in ChatGPT and asked it to respond on behalf of Ray and Dana, and it did. So Ray and Dana could take some of that and use it as a response to that review. Is it perfect again? No, but it helps take some of the heavy lifting from your day-to-day things. Is that somewhat helpful? Do you think you could explore that a little bit with your team? Yeah? Okay, cool. All right, I'm going to give you one last thing that you can take home with you is when you go play with it, you can ask it to write a poem or a rap or a rhyme in Shakespearean tone for your wife or your husband or your spouse. It'll blow their freaking minds how quickly this thing just creates awesome, unique stuff like that. But play with it with, fair warning. Don't get me in trouble, okay? All right. So drive this home. AI is not a replacement. It's not, but it is a tool that I do think is here to stay. And the earlier you start thinking about it and playing with it and adopting it, the better, especially for your team. Okay. You all, first of all, have done a great job staying with me, man. You are an awesome audience. I can tell that you're getting a few. Have you gotten a few things? All right. So listen. I wanted to summarize what we did, but it wouldn't be fair as a social media presenter just to summarize, a boring old summary. So what did I do? I created a reel for you that summarizes this, but that's also not true. I didn't create the reel for you. My awesome wife created the reel for you. So she's in the back of the room over there. Will everybody say hi? She's waving. Give her a round of applause. My better half, just so awesome to be able to spend this time with you all and to be here with her. We're going to be here tonight. We will answer any questions that you have. We'll be around. We're not going to love you and leave you. We'll be here to support you. I know you got some questions, and we may have the time for one or two, but I'll be here. So just come see me and ask your questions. I love to talk about this stuff, super nerdy, as I mentioned earlier, if you didn't know already. All right, so watch this, and we'll close out.
ATI SuperConference.
This reel is for you.
Drive this home. Point number 1 is to prioritize your platforms. Number 2 is motion moves the needle. Number 3 is
humanize the brand.
boom. Thank you. We're at the Great El Conquistador Hotel, and remember, point number 4 is don't be the hero in your own little story.
Tip number 5, be more like the wise owl, less like the squawking parrot. Sorry, Bert.
Tip number 6, don't fear the future.
Yeah.
Hey!